Hello and welcome. My name is Crystal and I'm going to be walking you through your mobility assessment today. We're going to be doing some really quick and easy self-assessments or field assessments that you can do to see where your mobility is at. It's a great starting point to just check in with your body and start to tune into what is going on, especially if you are starting your mobility journey or if you're wanting to keep track of how you're progressing through your mobility journey. I want you to approach each assessment with a curious mind. We are here just to observe where your body is at today so that you can then take that information and use it when you're selecting mobility exercises or stretches that would be best suited for you, because every body is going to be different, and where I store tension versus where you store tension or another person is always a little bit different. So we're going to be starting with our shoulders. All you're going to need is your lovely self and somewhere comfortable to lie. We're going to start by lying on our backs. You'll have your feet flat on the floor, knees bent, and just take a moment to anchor yourself to the floor. So just walk your shoulder blades down, 1, 2. I like to lift my bum up, make sure that my sacrum is on the floor and that I have a nice flat back. I want you to take your arms out to 90 degrees and your elbows are bent at 90. And we're just going to start by checking our internal and external shoulder rotation. So we're going to start with the external rotation, just letting our arms fall down and just noticing. So our shoulder external rotation should be about 90 degrees, but again, we're just here to observe what is there. How does this feel? And what happens in our body? Then we'll come back to that start position. And then we're going to assess internal shoulder rotation. So I'm going to rotate and dropping my palms down. And same thing, what we want to eventually see is around 70 to 80 degrees. Now, these can be easy to cheat. If our elbows come down, I can get my hands a lot closer. And the other way that we can cheat this one is my shoulders will pop up off the floor. So watch out for those two cheats and try to have as much integrity for this as you can. And make sure you snap a picture in this position and in this position so that you can track your progress. The next thing that we're going to move to is our hips, and we're going to assess the internal and external rotation of our hips as well. So an easy way to do that is we come into 90-90. Now we want to make sure that our front leg, okay, so that's the leg that's facing this way, is at 90 and my back leg is at 90. Sometimes people will come into a position like this because it's a little bit more comfortable, but for this and this assessment, we want to try to have those hips and knees at 90. So what we're going to initially notice is, can you sit in this position? So sometimes people can't. It feels like they're gonna fall over or they need to put their arm down. Usually that's a sign of internal hip rotation is restricted. The other thing to pay attention to is if my knee is popping up, that probably means my external hip rotation is limited. So again, we're just gonna notice this. If you can sit in this position, what happens when you drop this guy down? Does that feel restricted? Noticing, snap a picture, and then we're going to move over to the other side. And it's very common for us to not be perfectly symmetrical. So on this side, I noticed that my internal hip rotation is a lot tighter, and actually my external hip rotation is also tighter. So my knee is lifted a little bit more than it was on the other side, and I can already feel that restriction here. Okay, and I've got my arm to support me. I can sit in this position and I can drop my hip down, but it just feels tighter. That's the key thing here, is I'm trying to capture and observe with a lot of curiosity what's going on for me in this position and how does it feel. Okay, so once you got that information, we're gonna move on to the next assessment. So for the next one, we're gonna be lying on our back again. This time we're gonna have both our legs straight. Our feet are gonna be flexed. So that means bring your toes towards your shins, but don't like worry about 100% tension. Just have them flexed like in a chill manner. Then we're just gonna place our arms by our sides, palms facing up in kind of like a Shavasana pose. I'm going to just start by raising my right leg up as far as I can until I meet some resistance. Okay, then I'm gonna lower that guy down and I'm gonna test out my other leg. Okay, same thing with the other test. We can cheat this. So one way you'll see people cheat this is they'll bend their leg to get their leg a little bit further, or they'll bend this bottom leg. So try to keep it nice and straight. Okay, and just notice what happens from side to side. So the next one that we're gonna do is in tabletop. So in this position, all we're going to be assessing is the global flexion and extension of the spine. So you want to come into a position where your hands are directly underneath your shoulders and your knees are underneath your hips, so 90-degree angle at each. And all we're going to do is, as we inhale, move into extension, or we arch our lower back, lift our chin, and press our chest towards the floor. Take a picture there. And then we're going to inhale and round our spine as far as we can go. So you can push your hands into the floor, tuck your tailbone under and tuck your chin. Take a picture. And same thing as the other ones, we're just assessing and being super curious about what does that flexion extension feel like? Does it feel easy to move into, or does it feel restricted? All right, guys, so that is 4 quick and simple assessment tools that you can use to check in with where your body's at as you're working on improving your mobility. If you found any areas that were restricted in your body and you want a little extra help, head over to the MVMNT app. We have a ton of resources for improving your mobility and flexibility, as well as helping to calm and restore balance to your nervous system. So if you haven't had a chance yet, make sure you check us out. Everything will be linked down below, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next video.